All right, here it is. Finally, guys, the last day, last video. Okay, I know you're devastated. Here's what I want to do today is factor when the number out in front is not 1. All right, and the way we're going to do that is by grouping. All right, so you take a look, just let's get right into it. Take a look at number 1. You have 3x squared plus 4x plus 1. Okay, so I can't do multiply to 1 and add to 4 because there's a 3 out in front. That trick only works when that a value out in front is 1. Remember that going into next year. And most of you are probably saying, well, how are we going to group this? Because when I grouped it on day 3, I always had 4 terms, right? You always had 4 terms. All right, we're going to make this 3-term trinomial into 4 terms right now. Here's how. First step is to multiply your A and your C value. Okay, and I end up with 3 times 1, which is equal to 3. Now, here's how I'm going to make it into 4 terms. I'm going to keep 3x squared, but now I'm going to change 4x into 2 separate terms. Everything else stays exactly the same. Okay, so again, I leave 3x squared, and I leave the plus 1. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn 4x into 2 terms. How? I'm going to figure out 2 terms that to add the 4x, but multiplies the 3. Can you figure out 2 numbers that multiply to 3, but add to 4? And it's not bad, right? Multiply to 3, add to 4, it's going to be plus 3x plus x. Look what I did right there, guys. Again, if you flip-flop the x and the 3x, that's fine. It's not a big deal. All right, so just take a look again. I found 2 numbers that multiplied to 3 and added to 4, and all I did was break that 4x up into 3x and x. Okay, so now how many terms do you have? You got 4, and we're ready to group. All right, so I'm going to take the first 2 like I did in day 3, last 2, and here we go. Let's take a GCF out of the first one. You can take a 3x out, and what am I left with? X plus 1. Now take a look. There's nothing to take out here, right? I want x plus 1 left in that other parenthesis because that's the purpose of grouping, all right? To have whatever's left in the parenthesis be the same. So if I want that parenthesis to be exactly the same and not touch any of the signs inside, take out a 1. I'm going to take out a 1. All right, let's finish grouping. What's in common on the left and the right of that plus sign? X plus 1 I can take out as a GCF. And then remember what goes in the other parenthesis, what's left over, which is 3x plus 1. Okay, so I'm turning 3 terms into 4 by taking the middle term and splitting it up into 2 different ones. Okay, number 2, problem right away. I don't like the way it looks. Don't like the way it looks. So what I'm going to prefer you guys do here is make sure the squared term is out in front. X term is in the middle. And the value all by itself is last. All right, so here we go. Multiply your A and your C. So 2 times negative 4 gives me negative 8. So now I'm going to rewrite this. 2x squared, something, something, minus 4. The first and the last term do not change. So now what we're trying to do is, can you break that 7x up into 2 terms? It has to multiply to negative 8 and add to 7. 2 numbers that multiply to negative 8 but add to 7. It's going to be, ready? Plus 8x minus x. Okay? All right, here we go. All right, plus 8x minus x. Does it multiply to negative 8? Check. Does it add to 7x? Check. So here we go. We're going to group them. All right, what can you take out of the first one? We can take out a 2x, and you're going to be left with x plus 4. Now I want an x plus 4 to be left in the next one. So take a look. I have x plus 4, and then originally I had negative x minus 4, all opposite signs. So if you want to change both signs, take out a negative 1. Okay, take out a negative 1, and you're going to be left with x plus 4. All right, go ahead. Take out the x plus 4 as the GCF, and then what's left in the other parenthesis, 2x minus 1. There we go. By grouping. All right, what I'm going to have you guys do is try number 3 out on your own. Okay, try it out on your own. Okay, guys, here you go. You had to find two numbers that multiplied to negative 30, but added up to negative 13. So some of you may have thought 10 and 3, but if you try 10 and 3, you can't get the signs to work out correctly. All right, so it had to be 15 and 2, negative 15x plus 2x. And then you ended up with 2x minus 5 and 3x plus 1. Okay, number 4 right away, I don't like the way it looks because I always like the higher exponent to be out in front. So let's change that. Negative 8x to the third plus 60x squared plus 32x. Perfect. Okay, I'm not going to make the same mistake again that I made in a couple Google Meets and I think on day 3 video. Always look for what first? GCF. You can take out a GCF here. All right, they all have x's in them and they're all even. All right, so I can take out a 4x from there. And also, I'm going to take out a negative 4x. So just so that leading term out in front, that negative x to the third becomes positive. So ready? So negative 4x, I'm going to be left with 2x squared minus 15x minus 8. Okay. Looks good. I took out the GCF. Don't forget about it in your answer. You should have a negative 4x in your answer. So now what I'm going to do is grouping on what's this trinomial inside. Okay, so 2 times negative 8 is going to be negative 16. Okay, I'm not going to keep rewriting it, but don't forget about the negative 4x, okay? So we're going to have 2x squared something something minus 8. Can you start thinking about two numbers that multiply to negative 16 but add to negative 15? Two numbers that multiply to negative 16 but add to negative 15. How about negative 16 and positive 1? That'll do the trick. All right, let's group them. What do you want to take out of the first one? Let's take out a 2x and be left with x minus 8. That's the exact same thing I have in the second parenthesis, so I'll only take out a 1, so it won't change. So I'm left with 2x plus 1, the GCF x minus 8, and again, let's not forget about the GCF we took out. There we go. Okay, so always look for that GCF first. Okay, number 5. I know some of you are freaking out because you see the a squared there. Not a big deal. Pretend it's not there until the end. Okay, so what I can do first is instead of doing 5 times 60, I can take out a GCF. Everyone take out a GCF. 5 is common in both. So now it's going to be x squared minus ax minus 12. Yeah, I think 12a squared. Okay, well, I'm not even going to group this because what's the number out in front here? It's a 1, so I'm going to play a little game we played in day 3. Can you find two numbers that multiply to negative 12 but add to negative 1? Two numbers that multiply to negative 12 but add to negative 1. Multiply to negative 12, add to negative 1. I believe that's 3 and 4, right? Negative 4, positive 3, but now there's a problem here, right? I forgot about the a's. What happened to the a's? Okay, well, here are the a's right here. Put them with your 4 and with your 3. Because when you multiply now, you'll get negative 12a squared. And when you add, you'll get negative 1ax. So that's the only thing you got to worry about there is making sure you attach the extra variable at the end. Just like we're going to have to do in number 6 right now. Okay, could you group? Sure, you could get away with grouping, but look, that number out in front is 1. So let's say to ourselves, we got to multiply to what here? 36 and add to negative 12. And then we'll put the y's on at the end. That's it. That's all I need to do. So I still have x and x. All right, let's start thinking. Don't even get out that calculator and do the y equals trick. You're about to go into algebra 2. All right, have some self-respect. Multiply to 36, add to negative 12. I think that's 6 and 6, both negative. And then, okay, no big deal. That's not correct yet, but I still got to take care of the y squared by adding y's to both. And if you want to be real fancy and show off next year, not like that, but you can do x minus 6y all squared. Boom. There it is, kids. That's a wrap. That's a wrap. Feel a little sentimental right now. Okay. Get after it in the next one. Okay. Number 7, triple group. You can do it. Okay. You can do it. Get after it for me. Okay. We'll talk about this at our next Google Meet, which is probably our last one. Sad times. Take care, guys.